everyone, my name is Jaybird and welcome back to Amoris. Let's just get the fuck into this cringy shit. This one. Alright. After we parted ways, I walked back to my place. Jax was definitely an interesting guy, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more going on that I was aware of. I must have been lost in my thoughts when I came in the door, because Kobe almost immediately pounced on me. I was wondering when you were getting back. You took so long I had to assume it was more than coffee, so tell me everything. For a small guy, Kobe always managed to catch me off guard. I settled him down and we sat at the table. It was just a date, okay? I admitted it was a date. Are you happy now? Kobe beamed. He always knew when I was hiding something, even when I didn't. So Dish, tell me, what did you two lovebirds do? We're not in love! I could feel my face heating up as Kobe continued to grin like a Cheshire cat. I'd better tell him something or he'll never leave me alone. We shared a muffin. We shared a muffin and had some coffee. It wasn't anything particularly thrilling or romantic. You wouldn't be blushing like that if it was just a muffin. I'm not going to let you live vicariously through me, Kobe. Besides, don't you get enough dates yourself? But it's you! I haven't seen you go out and have fun, like, forever. I want to hear about it because I'm your bro. I like knowing you're happy. He gave me the puppy dog eyes and I just melted. Kobe was always there for me when I wanted to hang out or just needed to talk. It wasn't fair to hold back. Alright. We had coffee, we went to a movie, and we kissed. Nothing with tongue or anything, just a peck. So what's he like? I know lots of people at the bar really like him. He's always so enthusiastic and flirty and so cute. I'd be jealous. He was different at the start, much quieter and more reserved. I wondered if I did something wrong at first. Nah, he's probably just like you and doesn't get out much. I mean, he's at the bar almost every night until 3. Not that I stay up that late, of course. Of course, I was hoping it was just first date jitters. I know I was feeling a little anxious, still do even afterwards. It was like I met a different person. Well, that just means you need to see him again so you can get to know him better. You are going to see him again, right? Yeah, we set a date. Yeah, we talked for a while after the movie and I suggested a dinner over at the place around the corner. I've been wanting to try it for a while now. Ooh, romantic. Candlelit dinner. That's not how you say it. It's candlelit dinner. Maybe some wine. He immediately broke down into giggles. I felt my cheeks flush and glowered at him until he stopped. Sorry, I'm just really happy for you. It's so cute thinking about you two together. You're not helping me feel any less awkward about this, you know. Kobe continued to barrage me with questions about my first date until I managed to distract him with his own romantic life. As he went on and on about his conquests, I found myself half listening. Part of me kept thinking back to Jax, the kiss at the theater, and the chat at the coffee shop before it. I might be a little rusty at dating, but there's something Jax isn't telling me. Hey, why is there a dog barking at my door? I don't even know why she wants to bark at my door. Hi, Clover. Hi, Clover. Hi, Clover. Hi, Schmoopoosh. Hi, Schmoopity-poop. I like talking to my dog like that. I might be a little rusty at dating, but there's something Jax isn't telling me. Even more revealing, I wanted to know what it was. Seeing the look on his face, watching him brighten a shade or two, I couldn't stop thinking about it all. I hadn't felt this way about someone in a long time. Hello? I was paying attention. No, you weren't. You were a million miles away, likely with someone else. He was right, of course. Seems like Jax made more of an impression than I thought. Still, it wasn't any good to dwell on it. I couldn't compress my entire dating life into a single day. Let's just do something else. I need to distract myself for a while. Ooh, what if we Fortunately, Kobe was more than willing to distract me, as were a number of chores I had been neglecting. Between getting my backside whipped at video games, cleaning up our messes, and grabbing something for dinner, it was after 10 and I was too tired to worry. Kobe said some quick goodbyes as he ducked out the door in his club gear, and I flopped into bed. It was nearly midnight when my phone started ringing. I had forgotten to silence it before passing out and struggled to grab it from the nightstand. Blinking myself awake, I swiped to answer and held the phone to my ear. Hello? I couldn't hear anything on the other end for a moment, save for a roaring crowd and at least a dozen background conversations. It sounded like someone was trying to talk to me. Snippets above the din. Finally, I heard some sounds of movement and a door opening. The background noise grew muffled and I could finally make out the voice. Can you hear me now? Jax? Why are you calling in the middle of the night? Is something wrong? There was a pause, longer than really felt comfortable. At first I thought the connection had dropped, but I soon heard a resigned sigh from the other end. One of the bartenders got sick and can't work for the rest of the week. I didn't want to tell you like this, but I didn't have a chance to step away until now. I don't get a real meal break until later. My heart sank a little. Was this real, or was he just backing off again? I found myself getting a little angry at him until I realized he wouldn't be calling me in the middle of the night just to keep me at arm's length. I'm sorry, I really am. I was looking forward to it. It's been forever since I lasted a nice sit-down meal. I usually have to make do with whatever I can reheat in the kitchen from last night. What's on the menu? What's on the menu tonight, then? Tonight I have a lovely box mac and cheese, aged for 3 weeks on the shelf. It's got a robust neon flavor with hints of cardboard and memories of being in college. We both chuckled at Jax's flowery description for a moment before settling back into an awkward silence. Maybe I was thinking out loud, but when he said, "This isn't an excuse," it caught me off guard. It was my concern, but to address it so directly, I spluttered into the phone, suggesting that I hadn't even considered it. Still, he seemed to have a pretty clear read on me. I know I came off a little distant yesterday, but I really had fun. I wanted to see what was in store for our next date. Next date? He was actually considering that? My cheeks flushed a little as a grin spread across my lips. So we are actually dating? It wasn't just a casual muffin? Well, yeah, I don't split muffins with every cute person who walks in the door and takes me out for coffee. I'd never keep my girlish figure if that was the case. Wow, I love this conversation. My sense of ease was interrupted by the sounds of noise spilling into the background and someone shouting over the din. I know, I'm finishing up now. I'm sorry, Jaybird, I gotta run. Jack scrambled to end the call and left me sitting upright in bed, staring at my phone. All the anxiety I'd been having from before seemed so silly now. He wanted to see me again. He even said he did. Who knows when we might have the chance, though. I thought I'd try to call him back. Maybe he could steal away for a moment or two and we could have lunch or something tomorrow. He isn't picking up. Maybe he can't hear his phone, or maybe he's busy. I suppose I could always drop by the club. I'm supposed to drop by the club. God damn it. If we couldn't find the time to do it, then I need to make the time to see him again. He mentioned a meal break and didn't sound thrilled about his food options. Maybe I should grab something to bring. I got myself together and headed towards the door. The only question was what to bring. Between me and the club were a few choices that were open this late. I'm supposed to go to Mi Amor. Mi Amor was probably the more expensive option, but nothing says romantic dinner like some hearty Italian. That's not how you say Italian! The I is supposed to be capitalized. I picked up a order of spaghetti and some garlic bread. I figured simple would be best and the lightest on my wallet. That said, the smell of the meatballs was heaven. I just hoped he liked extra Parmesan. With traffic being almost non-existent, it was easy enough to get to the club in record time. After wrestling with the car to slip into the only space remaining, I hoofed it to the front door and made my way inside. Oh, my game froze for a second. That was weird. The place was packed packed from wall to wall, and I could barely hear anyone over the music in the crowd. Seemed the sorority girls, Jax had mentioned, invited a few more friends over throughout the night. Hey girls, it's fresh meat, and not a bad-looking one at that. Woo! Take off your top! Oh god. I spluttered in place as the girl bounced in front of me, sloshing her drink around. It was pretty clear from her expression that it wasn't her first. Come on, cut loose. Woo! Woo! We're all here to party. You should come join us. I just know Monique would be into you. I tried to bow out, shouting over the noise as she began to tug on my arm and yank me in the direction of their booth. I desperately looked around for Jax or anyone else I recognized as she pulled me to a table scattered with shot glasses. Shots! 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 Woo! As I was about... do you like my woo noise? As I was just about to down one just to get them to let go, one of the other bartenders from last night tapped me on the shoulder. He gave me a wink and nudged me back as he laid out a whole new array of beverages for the enthusiastic crowd. They seemed to forget about me for the moment and stacked each of their alcoholic fruit salads off the tray. What the fuck? Sorry about that. They've been getting a little rowdy. Follow me. The two of us made our way through the club and back to the main bar. He lifted the small separator and ushered me past it and through the swing kitchen door. While it was a bit darker back here, it was also much quieter. There, now I don't have to shout. You're Jaybird, right? Jax has been complaining about having to work tomorrow since the start of his shift. He told us you might be dropping by. Seems like he's pretty fond of you. It's so weird to see like a horse anthro with hands, you know, or like a horse-like creature. I know this is not a horse, it's a cow, but it's like a horse-like creature. Like, basically any creature that has hooves, but they're anthropomorphized, so instead of hooves they have hands. I find that so weird. So weird. I think Zootopia did it best, where they had like, or not even Zootopia, some other movies did it best, where like the hooves were kind of like fingers, sort of, kind of. I don't know how to explain it. I guess it was only for deer though. I'm thinking of open season. He gave me a bit of an elbow nudge as I stammered back to him. I didn't expect his coworkers to be so aware of his dating life. I just tried to smile and not feel too awkward about someone knowing more about me than I did about them. Yeah, well, we hit it off pretty well. Good to see him dating again. Been trying to bury himself in work for so long. Heck, it's just his luck that the one day he asks off this week is when Mitch gets sick. He led me back me back to an empty prep table on the back of the kitchen. A couple of abused bar stools served as chairs. He motioned to one and smiled. I'll let him know that you're back here. After it got settled, he stepped back out into the club. My head was spinning. In 5 minutes, I'd learned more about Jack's past than I had over our whole first date. Still, his initial reaction to me outside the bar made a little more sense. Though I still don't know what had actually happened. I started unpacking what I brought, grabbing a few dishes from the clean stack near the dishwasher and setting them up on the table. I just poured us each a glass of water when Jax walked in. It had clearly been a long night for Jax, and his chipper attitude was waning, and his stomach was audibly rumbling. It made me wonder if he had had a chance to grab something to eat since this morning. I hate to be blunt, but I'm starving. Do you mind if we just jump in? Not at all. I nibbled at my food while Jax wolfed his down. I asked him about his day, how he was doing now, and the two of us exchanged pleasantries as we ate. I still couldn't put what the other bartender had said out of my head, nor the awkwardness of him knowing my name without knowing his. Jax must have sensed it, at least as he set down his food and smiled. Much better. Sorry, but if I don't get something to eat, I tend to collapse around this point. Spaghetti? Did you have an ulterior motive? sneaking kisses across the table or something. If that was my intention, I wouldn't have gotten the garlic bread. True enough! Either way, it's better than reheated mac and cheese for the third night in a row. Thanks. Sitting across the table, my mind wandered back to what the other bartender said. It seemed clear that Jax was at least interested in me, so why was he so quiet when we first met? I didn't want to pry, but I had to know. Jax, I needed to ask you something. It's been bothering me for a while now. What's that? Yesterday, you were a different person at the start. Quiet, reserved, unsure. Here, though, you're a showman. Your coworker mentioned that you hadn't been dating in a while. I just... Never mind. Never mind. You want to know why I was acting that way? Why I was standoffish? I do. I know it's silly, but this is the first time I've been dating in a while. Seems like there's something going on, and I'm worried it's me. Couldn't be further from the truth. Honestly, as much as I know I look kinda flamboyant, I've only ever dated one guy. Really? Considering how often you get hit on working here, I'd just be overwhelmed with that many people wanting to hook up with me. He chuckled and shook his head, looking back up at me with a smile. Like I said before, I'm not in it for one-night stands. I like the romance too. That's why I've mostly dated women before. It's easier to wine and dine with them, go out dancing and have a good time. I feel like guys have different expectations, at least in my experience. Expectations? Regardless, what do you think I want out of this that you're scared of? The first guy I was with was back in college. Driven guy. Very ambitious. He got straight A's in all his classes, involved in nearly every group on campus, and he wound up tutoring me in math. We got to know each other, and then one night he leans over and kisses me full on the lips. He blushed and rubbed his cheeks lightly, glancing between the table and the floor to hide his expression. Of course, his scales had already begun to shift to a ruddier hue. It wasn't really an "aha, I'm gay" moment. I know I like both, but it was intoxicating. It was like being new to the whole thing again. We were tight throughout our last 2 years of school. He'd always take me out to fancy places, buy me stuff. It was fun in a sort of materialistic way. It's nice to get pampered and taken care of sometimes. Why would that worry you so much? Even if it does, I'm unemployed, so it's probably boxed wine and more mac and cheese in our future. He chuckled for a moment, smiling over at me before his expression faded and his scales darkened. I'd been working odd jobs to help pay tuition and other costs. Mostly waiting jobs at restaurants, since tips could give me the extra cash I needed for my day-to-day stuff. After a while, I found I really liked it. The showmanship, performing in front of an audience. That was pretty clear from the first time I met you. I've never met anyone more comfortable with being the center of the attention than you. He grinned as he shifted it to a more solid blue, playfully adjusting his tie. The smile fell a little as a sigh passed his lips and continued. And he continued. He didn't, though. Said it was a waste of time. That I'd never make any money that way or go anywhere important. That's when the fight started. I broke it off and we went our separate ways. I went back to girls and last I heard, he was off in New York somewhere with a law firm or investment bank or something. So branching out a little, dating that guy, kind of threw you for a loop. It's not that. It's just that he was my first, and I guess I assumed most guys were going to be like him. Working in a bar. I'm not a guy, though. I'm a woman. Well, I guess I am, technically speaking, a guy in this game. Whatever the fuck. Work in a bar where I saw how most guys approach women and figured that was the norm. So I just dove into what I love. I get to flirt here and there, maybe have dinner with an attractive woman or guy, and not get judged for doing what I want to with my life. I'm kind of learning more that how he used to be isn't exactly how every guy is, but yeah, I guess it's made things a little less black and white for me, and I'm still trying to find my feet. Jax, I'm not going to judge you. It's part of the reason I asked you out. In a room full of people trying to be seen, you stood out the most to me. You sweet talker, you. I'm not your ex, and I don't think that's really a gender issue. I'm certainly not someone who only wants to get into your skimpy and very flattering briefs. I called you because I wanted to get to know you beyond your abilities to mix drinks and flirt. Believe me, I know. For one thing, he'd never visit me at work. For another, he'd never instigate anything he didn't already want to do. We sat and chatted for a short while, talking about our pasts and a little about our presents. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before the kitchen door swung open once more, Jax's coworker shuffling in and looking quite haggard. Jax, the girls out here are about to start a bar brawl if you don't come back out. They say you're the only one who knows how to slice a mango. With the sexy. With the sexy. Both of us snickered before turning back to each other. Give me a second to clean up. Tell them I'm grabbing all the melons they could want. The bartender nodded and smiled in relief before heading back out to the main room. The two of us took the time to clean up and chat a little bit more. Once we finished with the dishes, Jax turned to me with a resigned smile. Well, it seems my public awaits. Sorry to cut the date so short. The downside of being a working stiff these days. It's alright, not like the ample free time from unemployment is doing me much good. I'm glad we got some more time together. It's flattering, really, considering how in demand you seem to be. Wouldn't have it any other way. I'm a total attention whore. I couldn't help but chuckle. It was comforting to see the confident, sharp-dressed guy who served me my first drink again. He always looked best at his bluest. I expect a third date, you know. Maybe a 3.5 date, considering this one wasn't nearly as much fun as our first. I'll try to make it a little more interesting than the back of kitchen at your work. Next time I'll bring muffins and fireworks. Just know that's setting the bar pretty high. He winked at me and took a step back as if to leave. I could feel the pull, the attraction of a moment that lingered between us, like there was more to say or do. Maybe it was just me wanting more time with him. I gotta stop him and kiss. Before he could walk away, I placed his hand gently on his shoulder. Once he turned, I leaned in close and pressed my lips firmly against his. He immediately melted into the kiss, his eyes fluttering shut as he pressed his body close to mine. The two of us held that moment for as long as we could, tongues touching as our hands clutched each other tightly. Reluctantly, I pulled away and stroked his cheeks softly. You can expect better than that on our next date. Wow. I didn't think I could look forward to it more than I already did. He coughed lightly and adjusted himself. His skimpy briefs tight. He kissed me gently on the cheek and strode back out into the club. Good night, handsome. I thought I was a girl. Standing there, pulse pounding in the darkened kitchen, I felt more comfortable and confident than I had in a while. I ducked out the back door to avoid the crowds and made my way back to the car. Now I knew the feeling was mutual and the third date was going to be something monumental. At least that was my intention. Now I just had to deal with Kobe badgering me for more details. It's kind of fun being the one with something to talk about instead of him. And the story of a kiss like that one had to be shared. Yay! I did it. Oh, it froze a little bit. That's fine. We're back here anyways. Anyway, guys. That's gonna be it for this episode of Amore. So that being said, if you guys enjoyed this and would like to see more of this game, then leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell, and remember, die safely. Bye-bye!